So, we'll do our marijuana moment from the online periodical, Marijuana Moment. State treasurers discuss marijuana banking challenges at annual conference with congressional officials. State treasurers from across the U.S. participated in a panel on Tuesday that focused on federal marijuana banking reform as part of a 3-day conference organized by the National Association of State Treasurers, NAST, that was attended by stakeholders and congressional officials. Moderated by Colorado Treasurer Dave Young, the panel discussed the history, challenges, and prospects for safe banking laws that would allow legal cannabis businesses into the mainstream banking system, according to an event description. The Secure and Fair Enforcement, or SAFE Banking Act, was a focal point of the discussion. That bill, sponsored by Rep. Ed Perlmutter, a Democrat from Colorado, would protect financial institutions that choose to service state legal cannabis businesses from being penalized by federal regulators. It's passed the U.S. House of Representatives in some form 6 times, but has yet to advance in the Senate under either Republican or Democratic control. Perlmutter's senior legislative assistant, Colin Anundson, spoke on the NAST panel alongside representatives of Scott's Miracle-Gro and the American Bankers Association. ABA recently released a poll it commissioned showing majority support for marijuana banking reform among Americans. State treasurers have been among the consistent voices pushing Congress to take action on the issue, submitting multiple letters to leadership on the issue over the years. For example, in 2019, NAST adopted a resolution endorsing common sense federal laws and regulations to provide essential banking services to state legalized cannabis businesses. This group, Marijuana Moment, is already tracking more than 1,000 cannabis, psychedelics, and drug policy bills in state legislatures and Congress this year. Oh, that's an ad. I'll get past that shit. NAST supports common sense federal laws and regulations to provide essential banking services to state legalized cannabis businesses, promote public safety and financial transparency, and facilitate local, state, and federal tax and fee collection without compromising federal enforcement of money laundering laws against criminal enterprises, the organization said in a statement to Marijuana Moment. On the first day of the NAST conference on Sunday, members of the organization's Banking and Cash Management Committee also met to discuss the organization's previously adopted banking resolution, which is due to be renewed this year. Washington State Treasurer Mike Pellicotti serves as a member of the committee and told Marijuana Moment in a statement that he committed to doing everything my office can do to urge Congress to legalize cannabis banking this year. Legal retailers must be allowed out of the cash business to stop the inequities and traumatic daily robberies taking place in Washington state and around the country due to a decade of congressional inaction, he said. I'm focused on uniting state treasurers around the country to amplify this critical equity and public safety issue in America. And I look forward to meeting with members of Congress this week to explain why it must pass cannabis banking now. While he is in D.C., Pellicotti plans to meet with lawmakers to discuss cannabis banking and other issues of interest. In the House, Perlmutter has been vocal about his frustration over inaction on his SAFE Banking Act in the Senate. He has also contributed to continue to raise the issue in committee hearings, even those that don't necessarily pertain to the issue. I fucking love it when they're that stalwarted about the issue. I love it when they're willing to do that, when they're willing to fucking go in like that. At a recent event hosted by ABA, the congressman promised to continue to be a real pest and persistent in getting this done before he retires from Congress at the end of this session. Following the bipartisan House package of the banking bill, Perlmutter said he naively expected it to sail through the Senate, which is always a bad assumption because nothing sails through the Senate. But he's taken pains to build support, including from current Senate leadership that has insisted on enacting comprehensive legalization with firm equity provisions in place before advancing a bill viewed as friendly to the industry. Despite recently saying that he's confident that the Senate will take up this bill, his bill this session, the congressman recognized that while he's supportive of revisions related to criminal justice reform, taxation, research, and other issues, he knows that as we expand this thing, then we start losing votes, particularly Republican votes, and we got enough votes in the Senate to do it as is. Perlmutter also brought up the fact that Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen has addressed the federal-state marijuana banking conflict, and she wants to get this off her plate and get it done. Meanwhile, the number of banks that report working with marijuana businesses ticked up again near the end of 2021, according to recently released federal data. That's a fucking win. That is a win. It's not clear if the increase is related to congressional moves to pass a bipartisan cannabis banking reform bill, but the figures from the Financial Crimes Enforcement Network, FinCEN, signal that financial institutions continue to feel more comfortable servicing businesses in state legal markets. Some Republicans have questioned how Democrats have so far failed to pass the modest banking reform with majorities in both chambers and control of the White House, too. For example, Rep. Rand Paul criticized his Democratic colleagues over the issue in December. In the interim, federal financial regulator Rodney Hood, let's see if I can say the name, a board member and former chairman of the Federal National Credit Union Administration, recently said that marijuana legalization is not a question of if, but when, and he's again offering advice on how to navigate federal-state conflict that has left many banks reluctant to work with cannabis businesses. So we're on our way. We are on our fucking way. Like, this happens, it's going to make things a lot easier. And you know what? Even the prices go down because they have to pay enormous fucking processing fees in order to do what they're doing. They have to work around the system to do it. In addition to that, yeah, there's a high propensity of robberies. There's a high propensity of, cash deals where cash can go missing. Like, this will actually lower the prices for cannabis for everybody across the board.